Psalm 109 verses 14 to 16. More curses upon the wicked. The imprecatory psalm continues with a dissertation, more isolated curses about those mouths of the wicked and the deceitful that continue to condemn David. Psalm 109:14-15, Let the iniquity of his fathers be remembered before the Lord, and let not the sin of his mother be blotted out. 15. Let them be continually before the Lord, that he may cut off the memory of them from the earth. The inclusion of the mother here was probably added to complete the parallelism of both the transgressions of the father and the mother. It may have been in David's mind, a similar allusion to the complicity of Bathsheba in their own affair. Perhaps we should recall the new state of a married couple from the creation of Adam. Jesus, our Creator, stated in Matthew 19:4-5. That he who created them, in the beginning, made them male and female. 5. And he also said, For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. Therefore, the iniquity of the perpetrator's ancestors will be remembered by them alone. We should all remember what the Spirit wrote through David in Psalm 51:5, Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. We read in Exodus 20:5, how the sins of idolatry are passed on from generation to generation. You must not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God who will not tolerate your affection for any other gods. I lay the sins of the parents upon their children. The entire family is affected, even children in the third and fourth generations of those who reject me. Therefore, all the innocent blood that has been shed on the earth, all the way back to the time of righteous Abel, was required from that persecuting generation, whose guilt aided in putting Christ to death. The train of vengeance can be followed from Cain's day to our own. By the time of the cross, the cup of iniquities was filled to overflowing. The crowd at the trial of Jesus called for Jesus' crucifixion in Matthew 27:25, they demonstrated that they understood this generational curse. Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere in trying to release Jesus. He threw up his hands in frustration, saying, See to it yourself. Then all the people answered, His blood be on us and on our children. Here is a profound statement, to the everlasting disgrace of the entire family, all of whose members, on account of their own wickedness, are burdened also with the guilt of their forebears. The fact of the matter is that the children and the children of those children generally suffer a type of mental, emotional impairment, as well as socially, from the crimes and idiocies of their parents, which would include everything from attitudes to the most heinous of crimes. The Spirit of God records through David's prayer tenets of the law on behalf of the victims harmed by the foul deeds of the transgressing parents, a just and due recompense, that the consequences of the parental sin may not be so easily forgiven by God's divine intervention. The penalty that is devastating to a Jew is that their name may be completely forgotten among the people and the memory of the family name perishes. Psalm 109:16, Because he did not remember to show mercy, but persecuted the poor and needy man, that he might even slay the broken in heart. The dialogue seems to vacillate between the plaintiff and the judge, and in this verse, I think, to the latter. To justify the imprecations of vengeance upon the sinner himself, the judge has heaped hot coals upon his own head, predicated by his own sin, which is called aloud here, because he is the chief representative of the people, yet he failed to remember to show mercy and instead ruled against the poor and needy defendant. Because this magistrate had no compulsion to show mercy, the judge of all will retain a strong memory of his sins. He is therefore only worthy to be dealt with after the most fundamental rule of God's justice, the soul that sins shall die. This magistrate, in complicity with the accuser, was devoid of compassion. He looked upon poor men as a drudge upon the earth. Should they not be punished, and in turn laid low? All who knew him were indignant at his brutalities and share an exuberance in seeing him overthrown. Jesus' half-brother writes of this judgment in James 2:13. For judgment is without mercy to the one who hasn't shown mercy. Mercy triumphs over judgment. There were times in the life of David when this could be strictly and literally applicable to him, but it also seems to have a prophetic additional application to our Lord Jesus, where all the dictates of justice and mercy were destroyed, and the accusers enabled the religious judges persecuted him unto death. Acting out of a diabolical malice on legalist interpretations of the law, it accounted for their opposition to Christ. The messianic character of this passage is seen from the corresponding section of Psalm 69:18-28. Draw near to me and redeem me, ransom me because of my enemies. 19 You know the insults I endure, my shame and disgrace. You are aware of all my adversaries. 20 Insults have broken my heart, and I am in despair. I waited for sympathy, but there was none, for comforters, but found no one. 21 Instead, they gave me gall for my food, and for my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink. 22 Let their table set before them be a snare, and let it be a trap for their allies. 23 Let their eyes grow too dim to see, and let their loins continually shake. 24 Pour out your rage on them and let your burning anger overtake them. 25 Make their fortification desolate, may no one live in their tents. 26 For they persecute the one you struck and talk about the pain of those you wounded. 27 Add guilt to their guilt, do not let them share in your righteousness. 28 Let them be erased from the book of life and not be recorded with the righteous. HCSB. If any man will practice uncompassionate contempt against the poor and underprivileged, God will level the just penalties of his law against him, an eye for an eye, thereby taking that man's name out of the book of life.